the vision for Dynamic is pretty much that any app on your phone needs a crypto component, which means that every app on your phone will have a wallet component to it, which is where we're spending a lot of our time.
None of the information in this podcast constitutes investment advice or an offer, recommendation, or solicitation by WAGMI Ventures or any of its affiliates to buy or sell any securities.
Hey WAGMI family, thanks for joining as always. It's your host, Benga, here with another WAGMI Ventures podcast episode. Today I'm joined by Itai Turbahn. He's the co-founder CEO of Dynamic. Dynamic is a Web3 login solution for everyone. They offer straightforward onboarding and embedded wallet options for newcomers and elegant, smart login flows for crypto-native users. Dynamic aims to abstract away the complexities of user management, offering powerful developer tools around authentication, authorization, and onboarding. This is all combined into one flexible SDK. Wow. For anyone who is new, this is the WAGMI Ventures podcast where we do snapshots with interesting builders and founders across crypto and AI. Check out wagmiventures.io to learn more about the syndicate behind the podcast. All right, let's get into it. Itai, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I very much appreciate it.
Awesome. Talk to us about your journey in Web3, man. What eventually inspired you to found Dynamic?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. The short answer is that my co-founder, Yoni, and I have been obsessed with crypto since about 2011. I think we bought our first Bitcoin probably 2012, 2013, something around that time. And we've been watching from the sidelines for an extremely long period of time. And we kept getting more and more excited. And we kept thinking, oh boy, we're missing this. And so 2021 came around and it was clear to us that we're going to start a company together. And therefore, it was pretty much clear to us we're going to start in crypto. From our lens, we thought, okay, clearly, if you fast forward 5 or 10 years, we're going to have everyone use crypto rails for stuff. It's just a much more efficient method to move things around, to move global money around, to move information around or ownership information, etc. So it's very clear to us that's where we're going to be headed. And if that's the case, then that's where we're going to start a startup. That's how we got into kind of Web3. And then in parallel, bottoms up, we started buying NFTs. We started playing around with DeFi during DeFi summer and before. And it was clear to us that things weren't working, right? So there's this like promise of this incredible financial system blocked by this terrible user experience to get into this like new financial system. And so we said, okay, that's where we can provide value and solve things. So that's how we got into building Dynamic. It was, again, very clear to us that what the end result would be, which is a global financial system that kind of moves on crypto rails. And it was very clear to us what the barriers to getting there are.
It's awesome. And as part of like addressing those barriers, be interesting to also understand how your experiences at MIT and at Harvard helped to influence how you approached tackling these barriers.
Yeah, so a couple of things. So I think at MIT, we were pretty grateful to be there when we were. So we were there 2007 to 2011 or 2010. The Bitcoin white paper was making its way around. I remember taking a class where the focus was distributed networks. And so I don't think we would have started Dynamic. First, I wouldn't have met Yoni without MIT, right? So we actually both met at MIT. We were both originally from Israel, and there aren't that many Israelis MIT undergrads, so we kind of had to be friends. So first, without that, wouldn't have been here right now. But second is I think that's where we really realized that the engineering power that is crypto, right? And like the fact that you have secured math and you can solve things like the double spend problem were magical to us. So that kind of influenced where we wanted to spend our time. We're both software engineers, so just geeking out around this stuff and geeking out around building developer tools for it was this like magical thing. So that's the MIT side. On the Harvard side, I ended up at the business school, and there you realize the world goes beyond engineering, and financial systems are extremely complex, right? You have banks, you have private equity, you have hedge funds, you have different regulations in each country. And so that really helped us shape an understanding of the complexity of this field, right? I'm fortunate to have gone to school with a bunch of folks that ended up in fintech. Just seeing the different roles they have, how they think about the world was extremely informative. How incentives work, essentially, how people think, was extremely informative in helping shape dynamic to understanding. You can solve technical problem that is global movement of money, but there are lots of non-technical problems around people and around regulation and incentives that you have to solve as well. So that was a really important combination for us.
Wow, fantastic. I love how it all came together with your meeting at Harvard. And I can understand, like, being the only Israelis, feeling that connection there. And now you have this wonderful project that is literally fixing how we bring more folks into Web3. And just speaking about that, your platform simplifies what that access looks like and enhances authentication as we view it today. Were there any like glaring gaps that you identified that and how folks engage with Web3 that Dynamic solves today?
Yeah. So at the very basic level, we thought, okay, you have all these like magical tools that exist in crypto, right? If you look at DeFi, right, access to very efficient trading, very efficient capital markets, access to liquid assets that weren't very liquid before very quickly, right? So you have this access to a magical thing. A second example is access to a global money movement. So the ability to build a global version of a Venmo or a PayPal. PayPal is global, but like a global version of a Venmo where I can send money to my family in Israel very quickly, right? Those are where crypto shines. The challenge, though, and the gap is that, well, to get to those, you have to go through a set of jumps around connecting external wallets and thinking about seed phrases, all that fun adventure that none of us enjoy. That's the gap we identified, which is you got to abstract that part in order to get to the really good stuff, which is everything that crypto can provide. And so our focus was to say, this is a gap that no engineer wakes up in the morning and says, let me spend my time solving that. They want to spend their time solving the real problems for their business, which is, okay, how do we really think about global compliance in global money movement? How do we think about speed and the right network to build on? And so we said, okay, this is a gap that we can focus on, which is abstracting away the wallet part of crypto and just removing that as a engineering complexity for developers so that they can focus on bigger things in a very similar way to a way in which Stripe says you don't really need to understand how the credit card system works or how the ACH system works. You just need to implement a few lines of code and we'll take care of the rest. So that was a gap we thought about and tried to address.
Fantastic. I love it. As someone who's been well-versed in that world, I think any user experience that is friendly and like intuitive is always helpful. Can you elaborate on Dynamics embedded wallet with MPC or your version, which is the TSS MPC, and how that is enhancing security for users?
Yeah. So if you spin up, right, the flow for a user is the following, right? If a user goes to a website or app and they log in with Google or they log in with an email, and in the background, a wallet's created, right? And that's a really powerful wallet. What that means is that they can receive money, they can sign and remove and move money, right? These are non-custodial wallets, so only the end user has control of it, right? And only the end user can move things around, right? So it's a very simple flow. It's very invisible for the user, right? They log in with an email and it just works. But to get that, you really need to think about security. Okay, how do you secure these private keys? And the best way to secure a private key is to not have a private key. And that's what TSS MPC is. TSS MPC is essentially a way to have multiple parties hold shares and together through coordination be able to calculate a signature for a wallet without a private key ever existing. So it's really this, I like to call it magic math technology, or magic math to actually think about security of a private key by not having a private key at all, and by sharing the risk of storage across multiple provider. So if that an end user gets hacked, the private key isn't there, but rather just a share that isn't enough to actually reconstruct anything on behalf of the user. So that's why we chose this technology. And the reason we focused on it is it balances, hey, you can still create this experience, which is a user should not really know or care that they have a wallet. They should just log into their account while maintaining a world-class security.
Hey, everybody. Quick thing here. We're excited to announce WAGMI Advisory, your home for all things fundraising, hiring, and partnerships. This is all about supercharging your project with the WAGMI network, consisting of over 20,000 executives, investors, and builders in crypto, all ready to come alongside your project to help it succeed. Get in touch at team@wagmiventures.io to learn more and figure out if WAGMI Advisory is the right fit for your project. Let's get back to the show.
It makes a lot of sense. And I think along that journey, you've also introduced like features to really help in the user journey and improving interoperability. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So you really have two use cases, right? You have wallet as a part of your infrastructure. So if you're building the next Venmo and using wallets or using crypto, you need wallet infrastructure, right? And you need those. But if you're building a more ecosystem experience, then wallets are a little bit more visible, in which case a global wallet makes sense. A good example is SEI, which is a incredible chain with phenomenal performance. And what they wanted to do is say, you want a unified experience within our ecosystem where if you go to website A or website B, you get to the same underlying wallet. And that's where global wallets come in. It's the ability for you to not just build an embedded wallet, but let someone take it with them from website A to website B. So trade DeFi on website A and then go to Magic Eden and buy NFTs and keep the same wallet that's email-based wallet without you having to install it. So that's what global connectivity and global wallets are. It's moving the wallet away from just infrastructure to actually creating a branded version. So a branded, in the Say example, Say global wallet that allows them to build this unified experience within their ecosystem. And we provide this as an SDK. So you'll see this with Say, you'll see this with Sofon, and a few more companies that I hope we can announce soon that just let you one click spin up these ecosystem wallets within your chain or within your app ecosystem.
That's pretty powerful. And I imagine the solution for Say, is that already live today?
Yeah. If you go to app.say.io or many of their ecosystem partners, including Magic Eden, which uses Dynamic, you can find as you click Connect Wallet and essentially be able to very, very quickly create these wallets without having to install anything.
Wow, that is pretty powerful. I love the fact that it's a one-click feature. Again, it sort of speaks to your drive here in solving the solutioning around making sure that it's as easy as possible for the user. Yeah, that's amazing. Just curious, like, how would you position yourself in your value prop against other MPC players in this space, like Fireblocks, Utila, DFNS? Because you've walked me through a lot of the interesting things and features that you already delivered today. And I would just like to hear your thoughts on and how you position against those folks.
Yeah, absolutely. So every name you mentioned is a really great company, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, are focused a lot on the UI side of this, right? So if you're trying to secure $1 billion as a hedge fund, I think a Fireblocks or any one of their peers is a phenomenal way to open an account and secure that. We're trying to solve a very different use case, which is, can you programmatically spin up these millions of wallets very quickly on behalf of users for a more consumer experience? So it's a different use of the same MPC technology, but for a very different use case, which is not as an interface for managing kind of a hedge fund or anything of that sort, but rather as an SDK and a developer tool to fully embed experiences in your app or your website. Some of the same underlying technology, which I think everyone is aligned on, is a really great way to secure wallets, but very different use cases and of that underlying technology.
Makes sense. Wow. I think for me, it's the embedded wallet piece that completely separates and then the focus on the end user, so to speak. And as you see your role in that embedded wallet space, is your role in today and like kind of like in a few years, what does that look like within the broader blockchain ecosystem, the embedded wallets piece that is?
Yes. So it's a really interesting question. And what we've seen is that we're actually seeing a lot more activity in fintech and Web2 companies that are now thinking about bringing stablecoin payments global. And so the vision for Dynamic is pretty straightforward, which is if you look at your phone in 5 years and open your phone and look at all the apps on your phone, they're all going to have a wallet component to them because they're all going to have crypto components that you might not know about it as an end user and you might not care about it, but it's going to be there, right? Because when you open your app to receive money, if you're a contractor in Turkey and you're working for a US firm and you want to receive money and you open your app and money there in dollars, that will likely use crypto rails. And that will likely mean that you have an embedded wallet in your app that lets you actually see those stablecoin digital dollars and do things with them and convert them to local currency or save money in them. If you want to send money to a friend or remit money to your family members back home, you're likely going to use crypto rails, which means that you're going to have a wallet in your app to send that money, and your family will have a wallet on their app to receive that money. And so the vision for Dynamic is pretty much that any app on your phone needs a crypto component, which means that every app on your phone will have a wallet component to it, which is where we're spending a lot of our time.
Cool. And this is today leading to a lot of the developments that you're working on. Able to share like some of the features that we should be expecting to see from Dynamic?
Yeah. I think that's a fair question. I'll tell you what I can share, which is we're focused on abstraction of more and more of the crypto complexity from developers and more of the wallet complexity. And if you think about wallets, right, there's several layers of complexity, right? There's the auth and wallet security, and we have spent a lot of time on that. There's the on-chain automation part, which is what we call server wallets, which we're starting to roll out, which is, hey, move money from point A to point B across 1 million wallets, right? There's the moving money into a wallet or out of the wallet, and we announced things about on-ramps, and you'll see more stuff from us there, right? And it's abstracting away some of the quirks of crypto, like gas, right? So we're spending time on what we call EIP 7702, which lets you very easily abstract away gas fees from the network, right? And that's really important because it's one more hurdle. If I'm sending money to my sister in Israel and I have USDC in my wallet, to now think about having ETH in my wallet in order to send that money is a non-starter, right? And so abstracting that part is really important as well. And then the next set of that is, okay, what if app A is using Solana and app B is using Ethereum? Can we also abstract that away? And so our roadmap pretty much is focused entirely on what other experiences that are tied to wallets can and should we abstract and absorb the complexity and dampen the complexity to developers, right? That is our roadmap, essentially. If you think about our next year or two, that is where we're focused. We're a crypto abstraction company.
Yeah, I love the tagline, crypto abstraction, because as you noted earlier with a lot of the use cases around like stables and the use of wallets to sort of support and enable the stablecoin use case, user abstraction is going to be key. And for a lot of the folks who want to be leaders in the space and for adoption. And so, yeah, I think as you focus on abstraction, that really helps to grow how we adopt folks into the space. I think one other thing I'd like to understand in the dynamic mix of things is you're already like building embedded wallets for a number of chains, and there is interoperability sort of built into how you execute and grow Dynamic and its SDKs. Do you see that as supporting how you scale across multiple networks and growing the Web3 space?
Yes, I do. I think first, I don't think there's a winner take all chain, but rather different chains for different use cases. So I think we're going to continue seeing the propagation of more innovative chains that optimize for different things. They might optimize for speed, they might optimize for privacy, right? We're seeing a lot of really fascinating activity from like ZK Sync, and ZK Sync is a tool set to build chains on top of it. Optimism and Arbitrum are offering the same thing. Gelato has the ABC stack, which is a phenomenal stack as well, right? So we're seeing more and more of those. And we're in the crypto abstraction business, which means that you as a developer should pick the thing that's best for your use case, and everything should just work. Whether it's EVM or in base, if you're building more consumer stuff, whether it's Eclipse or Stay or Starkware or ZK Sync, whether you're building on Solana or you're building on Sweet, right? It should just work the same way, and you get the underlying network benefits potentially and the underlying optimizations and guarantees that each of these chains provides, but we take care of the implementation complexity for you. And so, yes, I do think first we're going to see a lot more chains, especially with providers like Caldera and Conduit and Gelato and others that are providing these phenomenal roll-up as a service tool sets. And our goal is very much to support all of them.
Wonderful. Okay, I'm going to close here with one of my favorite questions here. Outside of everything abstraction and MPC and wallets, what else in crypto excites you?
Yeah, so I get excited about a couple of things. First, it is extremely cool to me that we're starting to see crypto and fintech conversations, right? I am extremely excited about what we call the full stablecoin sandwich, or the open phase stablecoin sandwich, which is move money from fiat to crypto and back to fiat, move money from fiat to crypto and keep it in crypto. So I get excited around on-ramps, off-ramps, how global regulation is evolving around that. I know it sounds like a boring topic, but it's fascinating to me. I get excited about the use cases that enable folks to get easier access to dollars or easier access to US treasuries. Those are fascinating top focus points for me. I think companies like Ondo Finance are doing incredible work there. I get excited about like companies building brands. So Doodles did a partnership, which is a dynamic customer, created this wonderful partnership with McDonald's that issued like 100 million coffee cups with Doodles on them and activated folks that way, right? So these are all topics that I get giddy just talking about. I also, everything ZK and zero knowledge proof, work that Starkware is doing, work that Nexus is doing, work that ZK Sync is doing, and a few more is really awesome to me. There's some really cool work around hardware and zero knowledge proofs. Those are all within my realm of where I get very geeky and excited.
Fantastic. Yeah, I'm certainly a lot going on in crypto land and to be excited about overall. Finally, any thoughts on the rest of the year 2025 and where markets are today, given all the turmoil on the macro side?
Yeah, so not much. We focus a lot on the tech side of crypto and try to avoid the money side of crypto, or like coins go up, coins go down part of crypto. I for the life of me, if you ask me what the price of Ethereum today is, I don't know, nor do I pay attention to it. I believe in the long-term value of the the blockchain as a phenomenal tech tool for global money movement, global settlement. I think that is the only way to actually create a global financial systems. Otherwise, the coordination problem's too big. And I think doing it in decentralized ways, actually the path to creating global ecosystems. There's no other scenario that can exist, in my opinion. And so that's where I focus my time. for the life of me, I'm the wrong person probably to ask about the microeconomic part of crypto or in general, and like my predictions there, considering I'm usually wrong.
I think you've been very right with dynamic in the use case and the adoption of it. So yeah, we'll keep it there then.
That sounds great.
Cool. Thank you so much for coming on, and look forward to seeing great and exciting things coming out from Dynamic. I know there's a huge announcement on the way, fingers crossed, and wait for that announcement.
Sounds great. I very much appreciate the time. This was a lot of fun.
Awesome. Thanks, Itai.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the episode, go ahead and give us a good 5-star rating and subscribe wherever you're getting your podcasts so you can get all the latest conversations from the most interesting founders, builders, and investors from across the world. Thanks so much, and have a good one.